Mare's Mom, and I'm here to show you how to check your tire pressure and inflate your tires. Okay, we're going to use your brother's beat-up old Volvo as our demonstration model, and we're going to start out by first of all figuring out how much tire pressure we should have in our tires. The best way to figure out, one of the good ways to figure out, is to look on the tire itself, and by reading the fine print on here, there's a thing down here that says max pressure is 44 psi. Okay, that's the maximum that you ever want to put in these tires. Okay, but in the Volvo, you're going to pull the owner's manual. And you're going to find what the owner's manual says that you want to inflate these tires to. In the Toyota little piece of crap car that you're driving, you're going to look right here in the door, in the driver's side door. It's either going to be here or maybe over in here. But there should be a label that gives you that information of what they want you to inflate your tires to. Okay, so since you don't have an owner's manual in that rental car, you're going to look in the door frame here or here, or you can look on the tire itself, and you have to really get down there and look, get on your hands and knees and look, and it'll tell you what the max psi is. All right, now to figure out what the pressure is in your tire currently, you're going to get a tire pressure gauge. There's two kinds. This is an old-fashioned kind. I'll show you this one first. This is the old-fashioned tire pressure gauge, and let me just do like a thermometer. Just shake it out like a thermometer, and you'll shake out this thing right here. This one goes up to 52 psi. Come in close, Sam, so you can see the numbers on here. Okay, so it's going to just show you. Oh, it's just going to show you psi by tens or fives. Okay, and then it's got the little hatchings for smaller things. Okay, and I'll show you how this one operates. Or you can get yourself a newfangled one of these tire gauges, and it's going to tell you what your tire pressure is right here digitally. Okay, and I'll show you how to operate both of those. So come on down to the tire. Okay, first thing we're going to do, we're going to pull the stem cap off, and we're going to place this little piece right here, the head, over this valve. Okay, now in the center of this valve is a little stem that sticks out of it, and if you press it with your fingernail, or with the back side of your valve of your tire pressure gauge, it'll bleed air out. Okay, that's how you remove air from your tire. Okay, but I don't want to do that right now. What I want to do is I want to put this thing over, and I want to just seat it on there and back up so you can just show this thing popping out. I want to seat this down here in such a way that this thing pops out and shows me how much my pressure is. Ready? There. So I'm way overinflated.
Yeah.
Okay, so I actually need to bleed air out of these tires. Okay, so the way I would do that is by sticking that thing there and just bleeding out, and I press this back in, and then I recheck again. And when I press this on here, it pops right out again. And I keep letting air out until I get all the way down to what I need my tire pressure to be. Okay, this one really needs to have a lot of air out of it, because max pressure, as this tire says, is 44 psi, so I should never be above that. Right. Now that's a cold pressure. Okay, cold pressure means you have not been driving the car. It's first thing in the morning, or you haven't driven the car for hours and hours, and the tires have cooled down. Okay, because as we know, gases expand and contract with heat and cold, right?
Yeah.
So so these readings that you're getting should be cold. Now we just drove this car to Whole Foods. We didn't drive it very far. We went to the airport, we went to Whole Foods, and we came home. It's not cold, but it's not hot either, like we have been driving on the highway all day. So I'm just going to show you right now how to bleed this tire air, how to bleed that pressure out of that tire. You can do it with your fingernail, okay, but it's faster if you use the back of your tire gauge, okay. And let that hiss away, and then put your tire gauge back on there. Whoops. Well, no, I can't get it, Papa. Why is that not popping out? There it goes. Now I'm at 42. Okay, I'm just above the 40 mark to the little mark above that, which is 41. Excuse me, 41. Okay. So I could leave it at that. I just don't want it to be right up. I don't want it to be right up at 44. That's too high. Okay. but there's a minimum. Generally your user manual will tell you where you want it to be. Or, like I said, if you don't have a user manual, look inside the driver's side door and it'll show you. Okay. Now I'm gonna underinflate this. I'm gonna drop some more air out of this thing, and I'm gonna use so you can see how I actually operate the air pump. But before I do that, let me use this newfangled digital one so you can see how a digital tire gauge works. Okay. It also has a place where you can bleed air. Okay. It also has some place on it where you can bleed air out. So I'm just going to bleed a bunch of air out of here. Do I have to put money in that thing? I hope I have some.
I have quarters.
Okay, good. This is a pretty nice little digital tire gauge. It's a Coleman, and it's got a power on. It's got a little glass breaker. It's got a flashlight. It's got that's a seat belt cutter right there. It's a little emergency tool.
Action.
Okay, so this digital gauge is one made by Coleman, and you can pick it up at Walmart. And what makes it easier for some people because it just gives you a digital readout instead of one of these old-fashioned ones. The problem is this one's not operating correctly right now, so I can't use it. But it works on the same principle as this one. We press this on the valve stem. Okay, and you should get a digital readout here. This one's just not working, and it would say something like 41.4 or something like that. So you'd just be reading a digital display instead of a thermometer stick like this tire gauge. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go over here to the air pump. And oops, this one doesn't lock. Okay, this tire gauge, this air pump has also has a gauge on it, and it's going to come out of here, and it's going to show when you pump, it's going to show you what your PSI is. This is going to work the same way as your regular tire gauge, and so it's a handy tool to have right here. A lot of people say that it's not as accurate as the tire gauge that you have yourself, but it's still better than nothing. So if you happen to be at a gas station without a tire gauge, use that.
Or with a friend.
Yeah, exactly. So you get some quarters.
Oh yeah.
Turn it off. Okay, so now we're going to put money in the air pump. Okay. Come over to the tire.
You have to talk louder because. Oh.
Okay. Pull the hose around to the tire and then stand on it because this one wants to retract automatically and I don't want it to, so I'm standing on it. Now I'm going to put this right here. And you have to put it straight on because if you let it sit on the side, it's going to bleed out more air. You can hear the hissing, okay? So if you hear hissing, that means it's bleeding out more air. Your pressure's going lower and lower. So put the valve straight on, okay? And then take this handle, and you're filling your tire up, okay? And then when you let go, it's going to tell you that your air pressure is whatever it is. That one's not a very good gauge, so I'm going to use my gauge, which is why you should always have your own gauge, okay? And again, I'm immediately right back up to 50 PSI, which is still too high, okay? But this is how you let air out, okay? And this is how you put air in, okay? And that's all there is to it, okay? The key is to put that gauge straight on. You gotta match that up straight on and seat it hard so it doesn't bleed air out. If you hear hissing, you're losing air, okay? So just cover that up and then that'll press and it'll keep going, okay? And good luck.
Say bye. Say bye.
Bye-bye.